Good morning everybody, and thank you once again for tuning into my YouTube channel. I hope you're well and that life is treating you good wherever you are in the world. It's been a hectic couple of months for me. Wedding season is now in full flow, and I know that many of you are wedding photographers too, and I'm sure that you know what it's like at this time of the year. Shooting, editing, albums, meetings, blogging, all of that stuff takes up a lot of time, but of course it's all worth it in the end. Recently on the Fujicast podcast, you are subscribed and listening to the podcast, right? It's a weekly podcast that myself and Neil James are producing, and it's certainly not just for Fujifilm folks. We cover a whole load of topics and have amazing guests. In fact, this week's guest is Canon ambassador and friend of both mine and Neil's, Sanjay Jogia. So do check out the podcast if you can. I'll link to it. Anyway, back to why I mentioned that. Recently on the podcast, I mentioned that I often shoot in the equivalent of P mode. That's essentially putting the camera in fully automatic. We had an email shortly after from Andrew Higgins, who titled the email, "Hooray for P mode." And he goes on to say, I've used P mode for years, thinking it was the most useful and flexible mode. Need a shutter speed? Flick that dial. Or need an aperture? Just dial it in. Otherwise, just keep an eye on what the camera is up to. And it's all good. That's fine. For the past year, I've been using shutter and aperture priority more often depending on the job, but it seems such a faff compared to the simple effectiveness of P mode. I came across a video interview with the mighty Martin Parr just last week, who also says he always sets his camera to P mode too. Vindication is suddenly out there for using the often derided P mode. Now, around the same time, I got another email from somebody who stated that P mode is for people who have no idea about photography. If people aren't shooting fully manually, they shouldn't be considered professional. And this got me thinking, because I often shoot in P mode, does that mean I'm not professional? Does it mean I have no idea about photography? And more importantly, does it really matter? So today I'm going to talk openly about P mode. Make of it what you will, but essentially I feel that if it's good enough for the mighty Martin Parr, then it's good enough for me. Right, and also at the end of this video, I'll leave you with another full wedding photo film, photographed mostly in P mode. Let's dig in. So, P mode, professional or pants? Does it matter? Are we failing our clients somehow if we shoot in P mode? There's a wonderful quote by Yusuf Kashf, and it goes something like this: "Look and think before opening the shutter. The heart and mind are the true lens of the camera." Now, I've spoken many times on this channel and at my conference talks about the power of humanity and humility in photography. For me, at least, the absolute most important thing is getting a sense of moment, a sense of emotion, a sense of empathy, and a sense of reality in my pictures. How I try to achieve that, I don't really care. And ultimately, how I try to achieve that doesn't really matter either, does it? For example, here are a few images from the last wedding I shot, and yes, every single one of them taken on P mode. In this first one, while the bride is walking up to the church, I don't often see the vicar waiting in a very classical manner for the bride. And as soon as I saw him, I knew I wanted a shot. I didn't just want a picture of him though, I wanted to add the bride to the frame to give the image context. It's not tricky lighting and I don't need to shoot super slow or fast, but the moment evolved quickly, and by shooting in P mode, all I have to worry about is the vision. The camera does the rest. In this image for the confetti, as I don't stage any of this stuff, it's a very fluid moment. I have no idea if the bride and groom are going to walk slowly or sprint. I have no idea if the guests will gather around them or remain in lines down the path. I know I want to get a frame filling image, so the camera in this case is in continuous focus and P mode, meaning the camera is looking after the ISO, the aperture and shutter speed, and which is somewhat governed by the auto ISO minimum shutter speed setting. And in this image, this is a real snapshot, a moment that happens because of serendipity and the fact that I'm in the right place at the right time. Knowing and believing that the camera is going to do everything for me, I can just watch the moment unfold, click the button at the right time and compose the image as I want it. Look at this picture, by the way. This was the Easter holidays in our house. I'll be blessing him in one of his funks because it's raining outside and he can't play football. You know, I love taking candidates of my kids, as you know, in all moods and all situations. I simply snapped this, and what's more, this was taken on my phone. I've got a Huawei P20 Pro, which is a fine camera, but the point is, almost all of us take photos on our phone, and in almost all cases, that's the very definition of P mode. Just because it's on a phone, does it make it any better or worse as a picture? So for those of you that have got this far and are thinking, what the heck is this P mode on about? What's this mad Welshman talking about now? Well, P mode is available in pretty much all modern cameras and many not so modern. It's effectively fully automatic. It's program mode in the true terminology, and if you use a Canon DSLR and probably Nikon, you'll see P as one of the options on the camera. In essence, what you're doing is giving full control to the camera to look after shutter speed, ISO and aperture. You're just responsible for clicking the button at the right time. It's possibly the simplest way to have the camera set up and running and shooting as quickly as possible. For those of us who shoot Fujifilm cameras, there's no setting for P as such. Instead, to engage P mode on a Fujifilm camera, you just set the dials to A, auto ISO, auto aperture, auto shutter speed, and away you go. As Andrew mentioned in his email to me, the great Martin Parr proclaims that even he shoots in P mode. Now, if you've ever seen any of the Magnum documentaries or any of the footage on YouTube of Martin, you'll know he's a very straightforward guy. His images are very subjective, granted, though I adore his work. But the principal fact here is that he is probably more successful than 99% of us will ever be. An acclaimed Magnum photographer, over 40 published books, exhibitions all over the world, a foundation gallery in Bristol, and a P mode shooter. Now, I don't know for sure if these images from Martin were shot specifically in P mode, because some of them are old and shot on film perhaps, and some are newer and shot on his Canon DSLRs. Look at that one of the lady with the deck chair. My parents still have a deck chair like that in the shed, and it's covered in rust and wood rot and now, but I tell you what, that deck chair alone reminds me so much of my own childhood. I love pictures like this and would have this on my living room wall. I also love this one of the typical English village cricket match. He's got such a wicked eye for the moment, and for the humour of it. How many of us would see a shot like that? It's just fantastic. And that's the point, isn't it? The seeing of the moment. What Martin is doing here is concentrating on seeing, and that's what I try to do in my own photography. Whether that's at weddings, commercial, personal or street, I want to become a better observer, not a better photographer. I genuinely believe that anybody can be a photographer, and by that I mean anybody can understand the exposure triangle, can understand shutter speed, aperture, ISO, and how they relate to each other. And of course it is important to understand that, but really it's the seeing that makes us all different. I don't for one moment think that everybody likes my pictures, and not everybody likes Martin's, much like not everybody will like Cartier-Bresson or Ansel Adams or Brooklyn Beckham's work. But isn't the beauty of all this in the subjectivity of it? And the subjectivity is what drives our curiosity, it's what makes us tick as a photographer, to document, pass on those little nuggets of history that we have snapped. Now, of course, as I alluded to just now, it is important to know the camera inside out if and only if you are shooting for clients. I do need to know when to use aperture for depth of field or to allow more light in. I do need to know when to slow the shutter down and to emphasize movement in an image. And of course, in many cases, such as landscape photography, portraiture with lights, etc., it's often critical to take full control of the camera. However, I believe for candid, documentary storytelling images, many of us will miss moments because we are trying to set the camera up or make the exposure perfect. And boom, the moment passes. Authentically candid moments can't be restaged, and I have no problem at all in allowing the camera to take the strain here. Here are a few images I snapped a couple of months back at the Cheltenham Race Festival. I go here every year and I'm not interested in the racing, I'm interested in the people. I'm definitely a people curious person. I love it, and in fact, if you want to see a whole photo film with a difference of a trip to Cheltenham a couple of years ago, then I'll link to it above. I know that Martin Parr also shoots at the festival, and you'll not see any images of the horse racing from him, nor me. Not that I'm comparing myself to him, but I feel we both share the love of humanity and the connections between people. All of these images were shot in P mode on my X-T2, and but the camera, it doesn't matter. I've shot the Cheltenham Festival on my X70 and even on an old X10 at one point, all in P mode. When I'm at the festival, I'm in a kind of bubble of excitement about the photography and what I'm seeing, and I have full trust in the camera to get things as near as right as possible. And this manifests itself as me having fun with photography. That, my friends, is what it's all about for me. Now, of course, you can shoot manually and have fun. I'm not for one moment suggesting shooting manually or in one of the other modes means you won't get your shots. You may, but my point is, in essence, that you don't have to. There's no embarrassment in shooting in P mode. It does not make you a less of a photographer. It does not mean you are not creating great images. It's just another, often quicker way of shooting. There is another great photographer, Joe Busink, who's primarily a high-end society wedding photographer. He's an icon for me, and I very much look up to him too. And guess what? He shoots in P mode, and in fact he says he shoots in P mode exclusively because speed and capturing the moment is priority. Now, I know for a fact that a vast majority of the cost of a modern camera is invested in the R&D. The technology inside these cameras these days is incredible, and the camera companies spend a lot of money on making the camera so. I remember once at a convention in London, this must have been 10 years ago now, I had a Canon 1D then, and I was speaking to another photographer who also had the same camera, and we were comparing settings. I had mine typically set to shoot JPEG in program mode. The other photographer said something like, "I can't believe you spent £4,000 on a camera and you set it in auto. I only shoot in manual." And my response was, "I can't believe you spent £4,000 on a camera and don't trust it to do what it's meant to do." Now, of course, that's a generalization, and as I've mentioned, there are many reasons you may want to shoot outside of the auto modes, but essentially the camera is capable of helping us out. It can do the work for us, and once again, it's not embarrassing to allow it to do so. It's not a slight on your skills, and it's certainly not an indication of your level of photographic skill. These two photos were shot on the little Fujifilm X-T30, by the way. I love this little camera, and I'll be sad to see it go back to Fujifilm. It's only on loan, sadly. But again, a couple of little snaps in full auto mode. And the great thing about the X-T30 is it even has a lever that you can set to auto, and away you go. You can still get the shots you need. I really need to teach Albie to keep his tongue in when he's doing his football tricks. And you can get these shots as and when you need. P mode is my friend here. This next little series of images were all shot in this mode also. The great thing about shooting in P mode, at least with the Fujifilm cameras, is, as Andrew said in his email to me, you can override very quickly. If you want to take control of aperture, just adjust it. Same with ISO, same with shutter speed. Each of these shots were taken like this. It's very cathartic. When the moment is the most critical thing, as it often is when shooting weddings in a documentary style, I really want to be unshackled from the responsibility of being a photographer. I want my responsibility to be that of an observer. I want to control what I see with my feet and my angles and let the camera do the rest of the work. As I said many times today, it's not for everybody, and in some cases people shoot fully manually just as quickly. I can't, but some can. And I guess the point of this video is to offer you comfort and encouragement to you to shoot as you want, not as the industry dictates, not as your peers dictate, as you want to shoot. You don't need to be brave to shoot like this. It's easier to shoot this way. The key thing is it's not wrong. There's no right or wrong. It's just another way. And one I feel that has to be a much better way of photographing quickly. But remember, photography is the technique and seeing is the art. Don't be embarrassed to shoot in whichever way you decide. On that note, I'll leave you in peace. I hope you enjoyed the video, but please do subscribe, hit the bell icon if you want to receive notifications of new videos. I'll leave you with a full wedding photo film from Ash and Sophie's wedding, much of which was shot in P mode. I hope you like it.
It's as simple as it seems, the twinkle in your eyes, the way that time slows down when you kiss me, as we fall asleep in a bed of butterflies. Just close your eyes and then you'll see it. You don't ever have to look too far. You don't have to cover up your scars. You're perfect, darling, just the way you are. So before you think to rip yourself apart, open up my heart and you'll find love, 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 love. My heart and you'll find love. It will never grow old, even when we grow up. It's up to us to stop and smell each rose. They're the colors that we show, it's the feeling that we trust, and it's the brush that we both carry. You don't ever have to look too far. You don't have to cover up your scars. Perfect, darling, just the way you are. So before you think to rip yourself apart, open up my heart and you'll find love, 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 love. Open up my heart and you'll find love. When you're searching hard and it seems to lead to nowhere, no matter where you are, know I'll always be there. You don't ever have to look too far. You don't have to cover up your scars. You're perfect, darling, just the way you are. So before you think to rip yourself apart, open up my heart and you'll find you don't ever have to look too far. You don't have to cover up your scars. You're perfect, darling, just the way you are. So before you think to rip yourself apart. Open up my heart and you'll find love.